everyone, it's Taylor here, and I'm going to share with you how I use this Hop to It background to create some really adorable Easter cards. I'm using the Hop to It background, which is one of our Cling and Clear sets. It includes that large rubber stamp background and the different patterned fills for the ears and the cheeks on those bunnies. It also has a coordinating Hop to It die if you want to cut the bunnies out. I'll be using the Mini Strips Easter Sentiment Set with the coordinating dies, and I have the Polka Party stencil and the Square Windows Designer Masking Stencil. I'll be popping up my sentiments with my foam sticky strips and using several different colors of ink. I'll also be using a couple different blender brushes with the stencils that I showed you. So let's get started with the Hop to It background. You can see it's one large background with several bunnies on it. I'm lining that up over the top of my sugar cube cardstock, and I decided to stamp this in poppy seed. It's a very dark gray, not quite a stark black, which is what I wanted for this project. I'm stamping that 2 times, so I have 2 pieces of sugar cube cardstock with the bunnies stamped. Now I'm going to take those clear fill pieces, and you can see how the bunny ears, there are 2 of them, line up perfectly with the ears on each bunny. Now there are several different patterns. I'll be using all 4 patterns. There's a stripe, a polka dot, a scribble, and then a solid ear piece. And I'm just going to stamp those within the ear openings using several different colors of ink. Once I've filled all of the bunny ears with pattern, I'm taking the stamp that was designed as rosy cheeks. It's 2 small dots, and I'm stamping that onto each face with pink champagne ink, just lining up those 2 dots with each of the whiskers on the sides of the bunny faces. Once that's finished, I'm going to set those aside and stamp my sentiments. Here I have the Mini Strips Easter set, and I'm going to stamp them onto several different colors of cardstock. So here I have Fruit Punch cardstock, and I'm stamping that in sugar cube ink. And then I'll go with the Blue Raspberry, again with the sugar cube, and I'll finish with Pineapple using the Poppy Seed ink. Once those are finished, I can cut them out with the coordinating die. I'm using the Mini Strips die, but you could also use the asymmetrical Mini Strips die, which works with the same sentiments as the original Mini Strips. Now I have that coordinating bunny die, so I'm going to take and cut each of those bunnies out individually. This die is not very expensive, so if you wanted to speed this process along, you could pick up more than one die and then be able to cut several out at one time. So now I have that full background that I've stamped, and I have several individual bunnies, and I'm just going to walk you through how I decided to lay these projects out. So for this first one, I'm simply going to add some of those mini strips at the bottom right corner. I decided I wanted it to say hopping by to say your exceptional happy Easter. So I'm adding those foam strips to the back of each of the sentiments and placing them down at the bottom right of my card panel. For this next project, I decided to do a little tone-on-tone with my Polka Party stencil. So I have my sea salt ink and my gray blender brush. You can see when I pull the stencil away, it's just going to create a really light gray pattern for the background of this card. Then I'm going to take 3 of those individual bunnies and pop them up centered on this horizontal card base. Then I'll just have to choose which sentiment I want from the mini strips. The great part is that so many of these sentiments work great with the bunnies, and for this project I chose There's No Bunny Like You, and I've popped that up using a foam sticky strip right below those bunnies on this card. So for the last project, I'm going to pull out the Designer Masking Stencil's Square Windows. There are 2 different square window layouts, and I'm using the one that has 4 of them laid out in a quadrant. I'm going to attach that to the back of my stencil using those alignment guides to make sure that I have my cardstock perfectly centered. And then I'm going to brush confetti cake ink across those open windows. And you can see that creates the perfect spot for those bunnies to rest. So again, I'm going to take my foam tape and pop those bunnies up within the windows. I've chosen to use 1 of each of the 4 colors, so I have a good variety, and then I've chosen a sentiment for the bottom that says hopping by to say hi, again popping that up with a foam sticky strip. So you can see that these cards were super simple and easy to create, and now all we need to do is add them to card bases. I've chosen card-based colors to coordinate with the colors that I used for the mini strip stamping of the sentiments. I have fruit punch here, blue raspberry that I did previously, and then this is pineapple. So once I have those scored and folded, I can just attach them to the card fronts with my Scotch tape runner, and these are finished. These cards would be super easy to mass produce and send to all of your friends and family for Easter. Thanks for tuning into this video, and you can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.